But I just don't feel comfortable building a robot army here and then being ousted because of some asinine recommendations from ISS and Glass Lewis who have no friggin' clue. I mean, those guys are corporate terrorists.
That was Tesla CEO Elon Musk on the company's earnings call last night. Musk calling proxy advisory firms ISS and Glass Lewis corporate terrorists. Those firms have urged Tesla shareholders to reject a proposed pay package for Musk that could be worth $1 trillion. The CEO's comments came after Tesla reported a 12% jump in third quarter revenue, but missed earnings expectations. The stock down by about 3.1% this morning. Joining us right now is Garrett Nelson, CFRA equity analyst. And Garrett, I think you have a sell on the stock?
That's right.
And your thoughts based on what we heard yesterday?
Sure. Thanks for having me. Well, obviously, Tesla missed on the bottom line, but this isn't what we would call a really bad miss. Their sales and margins came in ahead of expectations, and really the miss was a function of a much higher than expected tax rate. But I think, the real cause for concern here was really the lack of specifics, both in the release and on the conference call. Management actually got a couple of questions related to future products that they would not answer, and they said, this isn't the appropriate venue for that. So I think that leaves a lot of uncertainty. Musk has never really been one to hold back in the past on conference calls related to future products. So that struck us as kind of odd. But I think focus now here shifts to the upcoming annual meeting on November 6th.
Yeah, I wonder if he wasn't more specific about other issues, because this pay package vote is looming large at that vote on November 6th. I mean, this seems to be his focus. He has had the Delaware courts involved with his last pay package. Probably doesn't feel like he's had much good luck, even with shareholders voting in his favor on these issues. Where do you think things will come down with this vote, even with Glass Lewis and ISS voting or telling shareholders to vote against it?
Well, one thing we know over the last several years is that shareholders have continuously voted with the Tesla board, with the recommendations of the Tesla board. So we saw that at last year's annual meeting, where 72% of shareholders voted to reinstate the 2018 pay package after it was struck down by a Delaware judge. So we think that will be the case again this time. I don't think it will pass by 72%. It'll probably be a lower percentage, but we still think the new $1 trillion pay package will pass.
And is that a good thing from a shareholder perspective?
We do think it's a good thing because it perfectly aligns the interests of Musk with shareholders. And so anytime you have that, that's a good thing. And I think, the attitude, a lot of long-term shareholders have done very well with their Tesla investment over the last 5 to 10 years. So they have a lot of trust in Musk and that he's going to continue to deliver for them.
I mean, we gloss over it. We say it because it's just a word, trillion. But, I mean, this is a guy who has created a company that the market cap of his company is more than all the other automakers in the world combined. We skipped billion-dollar pay packages. I don't think there's ever, maybe his was. No, I guess
he was supposed to, but it got knocked down.
But we went right from, with this guy, as a, financial reporters, what happened to, has anyone else ever had $1 billion pay package? I guess maybe, barely. But why talk, this is like Austin Powers, why talk trillions when you can talk billions? It's absolutely unbelievable, isn't it, that we just gloss over it. And we're talking, Garrett, about a pay package for a guy who's still, he doesn't even have gray hair, for $1 trillion pay package for this guy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's certainly unprecedented. But, getting back to the stock, the reason why we downgraded it to sell in mid-September.
In September, right? In September, yeah. So it hasn't been
a little over a month ago.
Yeah, you haven't been like some of these clowns.
I've been a long-term bull, but look, there's been a disconnect between the performance of the stock, which has more than doubled from the lows in April, combined with the lack of earnings growth. Now we see 3 quarters of results, and Tesla's EPS is down 31% year over year. And that's an environment where EVs were subsidized in the U.S. As we know, the federal tax credit has now gone away. And so I think there's a lot of questions surrounding what the fundamentals look like going forward. And so, because the risk reward had shifted to an unfavorable one, that's why we lowered our rating to a sell.
Garrett, what is the chance that shareholders vote this pay package down and effectively Elon Musk says, I'm taking my ball and I'm going home?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Certainly create a lot of drama and I think a lot of volatility in the stock if that were to happen. But we just don't think it's going to happen because investors, shareholders have continuously backed Musk on these issues and over time, going back several years, every time at the annual meeting they vote in line with the recommendations of the board. So I don't think that's going to happen, but certainly would expect a lot more volatility if they were to vote it down.
Hey, Garrett, thank you. I guess that was your concern, the idea that the landscape has changed, the tax credits are gone, the incentives are gone for this, and you didn't hear more specifics last night on what they're seeing in the long. I mean, my guess would be that Elon Musk doesn't want to talk more about that until he decides that he's getting this pay package and determining whether he's staying, right?
Yeah, I think we might hear more about these products. In the release, they said that they expect to achieve volume production of the Cybercab, the Semi, and the Megapack 3 next year. So in our view, that really creates a lot of execution risk. So the pressure is really on Musk and on Tesla to deliver those products on time. Tesla has really been suffering from a lull in their product pipeline. It's been 5.5 years since they made first deliveries of the Model Y in March of 2020. In that time, they've only had one new vehicle model, and that's been the Cybertruck, which has been a big disappointment from a commercial perspective. So I think they're really suffering from, that lack of new products, and it's really being reflected in the lack of earnings growth for the company. Earnings down 31% year over year. So there's just really a lack of transparency regarding what the earnings growth trajectory is going to look like over the next 4 to 8 quarters.